Hey, yo, what's up? ¿Cómo están? ¿Qué pedo? Not your normal introduction, right, for a presentation? That's okay. My name is Jennifer Griffin, and I am a junior majoring in music education and history here at Benedictine. This year, I was provided the opportunity to work on my leadership and organizing skills through the frameworks provided by the Arthur J. Schmidt Foundation and the wonderful Dr. Sandra Gill, without whom this chance to share this work would not have been possible. I would also like to thank Dr. Beth Winkler for providing myself and co-presenter Miriam Alum to share some of our research via the 2021 teach-in in a presentation and workshop format. You'll notice that in the background there's a little bit of music playing, and that's okay. I'm here to shake up a bit of the monotony of traditional educational settings, so what better way than with music? This work began, to provide a little bit of background, this work began with the self-analyzation of my lived experiences underneath the American public education system and the experiences of other Black and brown students. I've always been the one Black girl in all of my advanced classes, and I began to ask myself, why? And thinking back to my senior year AP English course, I was ecstatic to have another Black girl in my class, just to have her decide to drop out a few weeks later, saying that it was too hard. I tried to make sense of it, the disparities I saw between my white professor and white classmates and myself and the rest of my peers. Why is it that Black folk have so many struggles employing white standard English or getting into these so-called advanced classes? This question would stay with me as I entered into college and dedicated myself and my studies to the development and understanding of anti-racist pedagogy. My research would bring me to many great intellectuals, notably Dr. Amos Wilson, Paulo Freire, Aimé Césaire, Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, Dr. Barbara Sizemore. Most recently, it has brought me to social justice professors Dr. Jamila Lescott and Dr. April Baker Bell, both anti-racist professors who teach their students how to break down traditional forms of education that allow for the furthered intellectual violence against students of color. Their work has its roots in liberation theology, which calls to analyze scripture through the perspective of the oppressed. Their work questions how it is that Black English can be monetized to make corporations, normally controlled by white men, extremely profitable, but is simultaneously a battleground for Black students in the classroom to fight for their intellectual liberties and demonstrations. They analyze this feeling of not belonging and the stigma and shame that follows so many Black students as they continue down their path towards higher education. Their work both points to the importance not only of representation of students and their cultural identity, but of providing safe spaces where students can authentically participate in the curriculum, authentically use their voices, and authentically be themselves. Their work calls for the acknowledgement of Black English as a language in its own right, with a rich cultural history embedded within the struggle of Black syntax and Black heritage. My interpretation of their work provides another framework for our own Benedictine community to take part in, as well as actionable steps professors and students can employ to dismantle the traditional infrastructure of the classroom. I had the opportunity to co-present this research with my friend and fellow scholar Miriam Alum in the 2021 teach-in to a group of about 30 participants. In the first half of the presentation part, we explained that if students are forced to learn only about one culture, then they never have the opportunity to envision themselves beyond the classroom, and they can never see themselves represented in history. This missing narrative makes it difficult, subconsciously, for students to believe that they even belong in the educational setting. Much of the standard white English practiced in academia continues to uphold this notion that Black is inferior by policing the kinds of English students naturally use in their day-to-day lives. By deeming one language superior, dichotomatic thinking would dictate that another language must be inferior. This unequal playing field finds itself written in tests, curriculum, and Common Core standards, all with the purpose of defining students' intellectual capacities, but ultimately function to uphold cultural norms and stigmas that work against the Black community. In our workshop, we provided an example of how teachers can uplift Black culture and Black English to be of equal caliber to the Eurocentric histories traditionally studied in classrooms by utilizing rap as a way to understand the modern experience of many Black Americans. In my breakout session, we analyzed a stanza of J. Cole's song, Brackets, which, although laced with profanity, holds within the complexity of its syntax and slang the intersectionality of the war on drugs, underfunded and underrepresented school systems, struggles of being a single mother, and the tax systems that can operate against the best interests of the Black community. This workshop was just one of the ways that we expressed in our presentation that teachers could utilize Black English and Black art forms in the classroom to help validate the identities of their Black students and create a safe space for students to discuss their lived experiences. Finally, in looking to the future, this research calls upon the values upheld by our Benedictine community and the leadership called into focus by the Arthur J. Schmidt Foundation. This work calls us, as leaders in our own communities, to critically look at the world around us and identify the different disparities that exist and different ways we can dismantle the institutions that uphold others' oppression. It is in this pathway that I find myself looking for ways to bring more anti-racist pedagogy to my experiences as a student in our Benedictine classrooms, to continue fighting for a truly liberating education, and to empower the historically unheard and underrepresented voices. This research has inspired in me to begin the initial steps to many different initiatives to begin planning over the summer, namely the call for additional academic supports to help Black and other students of color with the transition between high school and college, social supports to help students of color feel more connected on this new college campus, and the possibility of a STEP team. More than anything, this research has inspired me to continue to advocate for myself and other students of color and to act as a leader in bringing together our different communities under the Benedictine values. So, thank you so much for allowing me to share this work with you guys, to share my interpretations of the research that I've studied for the past 4 years. Truly, this would not have been something that we could accomplish, my partner Miriam and I, without the support, the initial framework provided for this research by the Arthur J. Schmidt Foundation, and then the opportunity to share it provided to us through the teach-in. Moving forward, we don't know what the world is going to bring. We don't know how it is that we will be able to tackle this question of race and racism. But we do know that by studying it through our liberal education lens, we will be able to have the skills needed to better tackle all of the issues that face us and to create a more equitable world for each and every member of our society. So, thank you.